This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by magic, but it is magic.
Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And guys, this week we have a guest. More than one guest. We have two guests. It's not going to be me sitting alone in a room creepily muttering about the movies I've watched, or Tina listening to me regale news that she hasn't heard about. We have actual people beyond people with my surname. We're going to talk about movies for the first time proper in a couple of weeks since episode 100. And it's going to get a little magical, and it might be magical because of the people involved. It might be magical because of the topic, but it's going to be fun. So please welcome back to the show, my lovely friends, Gabby and Andre. Welcome back, guys. Oh, I didn't really pick you up. That was it was a soft start. You'll say hello again. There we go. It's so weird because the listeners won't know this, but they know I'm overseas, obviously. But you are recording from Film Snob HQ, or at least the house in which Film Snob HQ is located. So that's kind of strange.
We've taken over.
Yeah, that's it. We're painting the town red in here.
You got a couple of cats running around. You'll notice whenever you take a cat photo, I like it. Not necessarily because I like the cats, although they seem very cute. But I get to see my house. I'm like, oh yeah, I live there sometimes.
It's like, hey, I know that couch.
Yeah. I was looking at them like you took a photo actually yesterday, Gabby, you put online, at least at the time of this recording, and I could see our front room. And I'm like, did they move the furniture? And I was like, no, I think Gabby's reversed the photo. I was like, they would have to move all that. I was like, no, there's no way they moved all that furniture. Why would they do that? Because then they would have had to move the wall as well. And I was like, okay, idiot. Technology, bro. How are you guys doing? It's been a minute since you've been on, if not including wonderful 100th episode celebration.
Yeah, good. Just going through the motions at work and settling into Film Snob HQ's been pretty good. No real issues. Just at the start, we had a bit of technical difficulties, but we managed to overcome those, which was good. So yeah, it's been great.
Nice. And obviously, being in Film Snob HQ, you get access to such a wonderful variety of movies. Have you been watching anything that the listeners would be interested in hearing about?
Yeah. We watched Leon, which was really interesting.
I was so excited because you told me like I really want to see this movie Leon. Have you heard of it? And I was like, bro, just go into the go into the garage, look under L, and you'll be satisfied. But I didn't warn you because I know you in particular, Andre, do like to go with some darker stuff, some horror stuff, some weird stuff. And Leon's not a horror, but it's definitely dark and weird. So I was like, yeah, give it a go. Forgot to preface to Gabby, hey, there's some weird stuff in this movie.
I mean, on the line, like a bit of dark and twisty, but like I do draw the line at like, I don't know, inappropriate relationships with the child. And that's a little weird. I feel like, yeah, if they were more like, you know how the Spy Kids are with their parents? Like that.
Yeah.
If it was like that, that would be cool. I mean, like, even though that they're assassins, I could get behind a child, like a baby-faced killer. I could get behind that. The love should be paternal, and that's
it's not a father-daughter relationship. Well, it is from his end because he obviously doesn't reciprocate. He kind of has to like tell her like no. But yeah, like it is weird that she's like so into him.
Yeah.
But all in all, like I thought the movie was great. That kind of will like Gabby said, inappropriate undertone was like it caught us a little bit off guard, but all in all, I thought the movie was really good.
It's so funny to me, like that movie he made just while he was waiting to get funding for another movie. Like he wrote Fifth Element, and the studio's like, "Oh, we're gonna we're gonna see if there's room in the budget. Like, let's see what we can do. And while he was like just waiting around, he's like, well, I don't want to do nothing for the next 6 months.
And the detective is the same guy that's in the like, isn't
Gary Oldman?
Oh, yes.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, he's the villain. Gary Oldman's the villain.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see Gary Oldman because I think the only thing I really remember seeing him in is the Dark Knight trilogy. So all I can see is like older Gary Oldman. So seeing like
and
young...
Harry Potter of course as well.
Oh yeah, of course. But seeing him just like clean cut, young, I was like, he's hot. Like, whoa, what is going on?
Gary Oldman's great. I got a couple of Gary Oldman films in the collection you can browse through. I just bought Fifth Element, so obviously you won't be able to watch that because it's over here with me. But he's in that, and he's in Sid and Nancy, which is the biopic about Sid Vicious. Which is a pretty great flick. He's played Sid Vicious. He's in Dracula, the '90s one, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
He also played Winston Churchill, didn't he?
Yeah, in Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'll get to it. I'm like madly buying up. I think I'm at 36 or 37 Blu-rays at the moment for the collection, so I will definitely be in triple figures before the end of the year, which would be nice.
Awesome.
I don't know how it I don't know if you can talk about it. Not because it's like top secret or anything. I just don't know what you're allowed to say on podcasts or what you're not. But in terms of cost, is the cost of like buying a Blu-ray in like Europe, the UK, similar or different to Australia?
It is similar for the most part. It is more expensive, but not by much. Like, so a new release Blu-ray is normally kind of like 13 to 15 pounds, which is about 25 to 30 bucks. So that's pretty standard. So that's pretty comparable.
Yeah.
But the UK and America have a lot more specialist labels. So, for example, they get access to the Criterion collection. So Criterion will like do these like special like edition Blu-rays where they come with all these extra features and limited edition artwork and stuff like that. And because they'll charge a premium price, so those cost about like anywhere from 35 to 50 bucks. But there's a box set I'm going to buy next which is next week. The Before trilogy, which is like a Richard Linklater series, and the only way to get it is Criterion, so that one's going to set me back quite a bit. But I can't get in Australia, and I really want it. They've also got a really cool Godzilla box set that I want, which I'm going to get the paycheck after that. But again, you can't get in Australia, but it's all like the 1950s through the 70s. It's like 25, Japanese Godzilla films, and you can't get
right. That's cool.
So I'll get that and then ship that home. But the way I look at it is like I'm paying a premium for stuff that's just not available in Australia. Like the Australian market is so limited. Like there may be 2 things in there you can probably get back at home, but even then, like, you might only be able to get them on DVD, and I'm like, it's not 1999 anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like even Blu-ray is outdated technically. I should be getting 4K, but I'm not insane. Maybe I am. But yeah, and like Disney just doesn't distribute it in Australia at all anymore. So like I finally got Indiana Jones.
Really?
They haven't. The last thing they released in Australia was Guardians 3. So you can't get any Disney stuff, and they deleted it all. So the only way you can watch it is on their streaming service. So
that sucks. Oh, that's
I was very. If you look at my post from about a year ago, you'll see like me doing all this.
I remember that. I remember when you posted about that, and I initially because I guess I pay for so many streaming services, and I'm not like connected to the physical media as you are, I guess. I didn't really see why it would be a problem, and then like listening to your explanation, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I predicted it like 6 months later. Disney, increased their prices. It's like streaming service went from like $10 a month to $17 a month, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna get your Disney content? I mean, look, the Disney content has been, depending on how you feel about it, has maybe kind of wavered in the last couple of years anyway. But if you want to get access to all that stuff, like you have to go with their streaming service or import, which is what I've been doing. So not even import. I'm technically exporting because I'm buying here and then sending it home. So I'm an importer exporter, just like George Costanza. It's great. So you watched Leon, which is admittedly, I was almost sent you a message actually, guys. Gonna be like, look, if there's anything you're not sure about, send me a message. Be like, "What's this like?" And I'll tell you whether you like it or not. So if you come across anything in there, you're like, "Oh, we don't really know much about this. What do you reckon?" I'll give you a yay or nay on it, so that way you don't get too weirded out. Because I do have some very strange stuff in there, for sure.
Yeah. I think because and again, it's a streaming, like the curse of the streaming services. Like you go on there, be like, oh, what am I going to watch? And then you don't want to commit to spending time watching something that you're not going to enjoy. So then you end up picking something you've already seen 2 or 3 times because you know how it ends. There's no stress involved, or if there is stress involved, you can skip it if you want to, or you at least know what's coming, so you don't have to look. But then you're not learning anything. You're not like enjoying anything new.
Yeah, for sure.
But we actually went to the movies a couple of weeks ago to see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Now, I haven't spoken to anyone about it, so because I saw it opening night, or I guess like the day after opening night, because I didn't go to the midnight launch.
Yeah, I think we did as well.
Because I went on a Thursday in London, but no one, like Tina hasn't seen it because one of us had to stay home and look after Zoe.
Sure.
So I haven't spoken to anyone about it. So what did you think? Did you enjoy the movie? Like,
I thought it was hilarious.
it was really fun.
I thought, like the action of it all was really great. I'm not going to spoil it I know it's been out a little while now, but still, like, I don't want to.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, I think, has posted the entire movie through his reels.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also like the cameos, like all of those people have sort of come out and like talked about it now that it's been out a while. But I really liked all of the cameos. I thought like the inside type jokes were really funny, like the one referencing Hugh Jackman's divorce and like
that's fun. Yeah,
that I just thought like it's just those unexpected one-liners when you're already laughing at like a silly part of a joke, and then he comes in with that quick like quip type joke. I think that was really funny. I thought it was like sweet that they brought that girl back. I can't remember her name.
Oh, the X-23.
Yes, yeah.
From Logan, yeah.
Yeah.
She's in the trailer. Like, she was in a trailer before the movie was released, so we can.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the story behind it, because the original plan was she wasn't going to be in the trailers, and Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel, was like, "Look, she wasn't mentioned in the trailers," but the girl was like, "Can I come to the premiere of the movie?" And they're like, "Well, if you come to the premiere, we're going to spoil it." And so they were like, "No." And it's like, we can't do that. Like, so let's just release a trailer with her in it, so that way she can come to the premiere, because then
she can come, yeah.
That way it's not a spoiler. It's not a big deal because we're gonna keep all these other things hidden and stuff like that. And considering like a lot of set photos leaked, and I looked at all of them. Like, normally I'll avoid them, but this time around, because we've had a Marvel movie in so long, I was ravenous. So I was like, show me everything. It didn't impact my enjoyment at all. Like, there wasn't a single cameo I was disappointed by. Everyone was like, I wasn't surprised by much because I had heard like leaks and stuff like that. But like, I wasn't disappointed by any of the cameos. There wasn't anything I was like, man, I wish they had put that in. Like, always you wish they put more in, but at the same time, I didn't walk away being like, man, it would have been better. Like, it's just like, hey, they got a lot of cameos in a 2-hour flick, and they were all pretty like tied into the storyline. Like, especially that kind of team I've spoiled it on a previous episode, but people might not have listened to that episode, so I won't spoil it again. But that team they assemble, like, full of cameos, and like all had like cool moments and references to their own movies and stuff like that. There's an older woman in their team. I won't spoil who the older woman is, but she makes a joke at the expense of a character she interacted with both in and out of the movie. I'm getting real vague.
Yes.
Which, as soon as she made that joke, I was like, that's genius. I love that other person, but that's
oh
so
no, that's
funny.
not necessary. I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious. I love that for you.
Yeah,
also,
that was
like,
really
one of the other characters in that team was like, oh, there's only one. And I was like,
yeah.
Because
so
I don't
funny.
know they're doing, and they actually are doing. I've heard like whispers about like a new, like a reprisal.
They announced that movie like 3 years ago, and it's 3 years ago. It was COVID when they announced it. And it's been in development. It's been in development hell. Like, it's every time like they get and like there's an actor signed on for it, like a very cool actor signed on for it, and like everyone's just waiting for the day where like he's just like, I'm sorry, like you can't get it together. I'm gonna have to pass. Like I can't, keep doing this.
Yeah.
But I kind of think getting that actor who was in Deadpool and Wolverine to do a new film might be a fun way to do it. Like just bring that person
Yeah.
back.
Jason, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie and is just listening to us like ramble and trying not to spoil, would be would be so confused. But like, at least I'll give them more incentive to go see the movie so they know what the hell
Yeah,
we're
like
talking
it's
about.
been out for close to a month, and then next week it'll be a month. So like we don't have to do this, but doing it for you,
Hey,
dear listeners.
It's out of courtesy for people who haven't seen it, and for people who have seen it, they're like, oh hey, yeah, I know exactly what they're talking about. Click, click, click.
And then obviously like there's a montage of like different versions of the same character, which is just, like
Yes, that was really cool.
if you're a comic book person, like that was so cool. Like there were versions that I didn't even know. I was like, who's that one? And then like they're all played by the same actor except for one, and I'd heard
Yeah.
a rumor that was going to happen, but I didn't believe it. And I was like, it's probably not going to be like the actual official casting, but wouldn't it be cool if it was? Like that's
It
really
would be cool, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And I thought that all the iterations of Deadpool were funny, but I thought that the one that I can break the fourth wall too, I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that was so good. That was really good. Yeah, it's really funny.
The chemistry on scene, on screen between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds was so good, and look, I think, to be honest, I don't want another Deadpool movie. I think they should end on on this high note, because the movie's been received really well. And of course, Hugh Jackman came back to reprise Wolverine, hopefully one more time. Even though I love him as Wolverine, and Logan was supposed to be his farewell song.
They did they managed to make it work, and I think by
making they did.
By making it a different Logan, which isn't a spoiler, like in the trailer, so they kind of say it's not the same one. So, and even if that was a spoiler, like it's such a small spoiler, like, yeah, they managed to make it work really well. Well, the rumor is, and who knows if this is true, but the rumor is that what's actually not Secret Wars anymore. Is it Secret? Yeah, it is Secret Wars. Like that whole next lot of Avengers films is meant to be, or originally was meant to be, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and like some other and like Nick Cage Ghost Rider like going around.
I really missed that movie, but I feel like I just heard Ghost Rider got recast and Jensen Ackles is playing Ghost Rider. But maybe that's bullshit. I don't know. But I thought that would be a good casting.
As of this morning, I haven't seen anything. But I always liked the idea of who else were they saying Ghost Rider? Oh, well, everyone wants Daryl from Walking Dead. I'm like, that's just because he rides a motorcycle in that show. Like, that's like saying only bald actors can play Charles Xavier. I really wanted Keanu Reeves for Silver Surfer. I thought he would have been a cool choice because he's got like that kind of like mellow voice, and the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Good pick.
But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do next. I don't know how they'll use Deadpool. Like, if they do another film, look, I'll go see it. I think like maybe I'd love to see how he works in a team dynamic, like with someone like the Avengers. Like, I just think it'd be chaos. But I think they could even utilize him the way they use Stan Lee and just have him like pop up like for a few minutes, like in a cameo sense, and just kind of. I don't think like if they keep doing, look, clearly the flick just made $1 billion the other day. Like, it is now the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Like, it just beat
really awesome
Joker.
Speaking of R-rated film, we saw people come in with their kids.
Oh yeah.
They weren't like a baby where the baby's probably gonna fall asleep as a movie starts. These were school age children, and I thought, are you joking? Like, it has been advertised as an R-rated film. Like, they made quite a thing about it being rated R in the promos. Why are you bringing your children to this? Like, if you can't get babysitters, find another time. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a kid hater. I'm actually trying to protect them because
it's like you see all
that movie not appropriate.
I've seen a lot of reels online of like Christian parents that have been like, we walked out within 5 minutes. And it's like, you didn't read the rating. Like, just because it's a superhero, like, did you take them to
You
go and
didn't
see
need to
Blade
rate
in the
him, but so
90s? Like,
have you look? Why would you go see number 3? Like, watch 1 and 2 first, and you would think, oh, okay, maybe not for the kid.
or like, look at the name of the character. Like, that's a
Yeah.
pretty strong indicator that maybe he's not the most kid-friendly character. Like, even if you know Wolverine and stuff like that, like, yeah, I don't know. People are insane, but it's a really fun flick, and I'm glad it's done well. And like, it seems like there's a few cool things coming up for Marvel now. Like, they released some trailers for some stuff coming up. Like some footage
Yeah.
is leaked. Like, I saw some of the Fantastic Four footage that got leaked, and I was like, oh, that was cool. Like, it's
I don't know how I feel about RDJ coming back to play Doctor Doom, but I am super psyched that the Russo brothers will be back to direct the new Avengers movies. I'm so happy.
And it's not the complete writing team, but the two guys who wrote. So one of the two writers came back. So the two guys who wrote Infinity War and Endgame, they're writing these two films as well. But they also wrote the entire Captain America trilogy. So like, which is, I would say, probably the strongest. Well, actually, Deadpool's doing pretty well. Like, maybe Deadpool's one of the strongest trilogies. But like, Cap is a pretty strong trilogy. So it's not the complete team. I don't know why they both haven't come back, but at least one of them. Like, hopefully he's the guy who did most of the writing. Because hopefully he's not the guy who was like, what about this? And just like, suggesting ideas. But it seems like a pretty good mix. RDJ, I'm totally on board for. Like, this is the first kind of the first multiverse thing. I'm like, yes, this is exactly why you do the multiverse. So you can see like variants of characters. Like, you haven't really, like, Multiverse of Madness, we didn't really see variants. Deadpool and Wolverine, we saw characters we've seen before, and I'll leave it at that. But we didn't really see variants. What If kind of does it, but What If, like, considering you could do anything you want, kind of colored within the lines. But like, RDJ going from hero to villain, kind of cool. I like that. I'm like, I know a lot of people feel very mixed about it. A lot of people think it's a desperate move. I don't think it's a desperate move. I think that RDJ was always destined to come back, especially when they're doing multiverse. I'd rather him come back as someone else other than, like, I'd rather that than like, oh, we came from a parallel universe where Iron Man didn't die. Here he is. He's a hero again. Like, that would feel like a desperate move to me. Flipping around making, and this is my opinion. You can be like, James, you're an idiot. Shut up. But like, bringing him back as a villain, even if it's even if it's oh, what is it? There's a variant of Iron Man in the comics, and it's Tony Stark who became Doctor Doom. So it could be that. It might be
cool.
He could be playing Victor Von Doom. Either way, I'm like, was it a desperate move to bring back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? Like, no one's criticizing that. So come on, like, was it a desperate move to bring back the people they brought back in Deadpool and Wolverine? Like, no, everyone's excited about it. So let's, internet people, just chill. Like, until we see it. And if it's garbage, then I'll be like, all right, I was wrong. Like, you know.
You start doing your apology tour. Like,
yeah, I'll be like, guys, I said that it was a good idea.
You get on. You make a TikTok account just to make an apology. Like, I'm embarrassed to have to say this to you guys, but I'm sorry. I made the wrong call. I think I should give back my film snob title and come up with film not snob.
I'm film poser. That was a nice one. I'm glad you guys got to check that one out. It's nice to finally talk to someone about it. I've got Nick Owen coming on the show next week, and he's like, "Do you want to talk about 2024 movies?" I was like, "Please." I haven't like spoken to anyone about movies in so long. I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet, but I went and saw Longlegs as well, which I feel like it's it's interesting, man. It really got under my skin the night I saw it, like, and like since then I was like, I don't know when I'm going to watch it next. Like, it made me feel really uncomfortable. Since watching it, like, it's been about a few weeks. I said, like, I could watch it again today. Like, but it's pretty like, I didn't know anything going into it. I just like went in, and it's pretty unsettling. Like, it's very tonally feels a bit like Seven, feels a bit like Silence of the Lambs, but does its own thing. Nick Cage is great in it. Like, it's very simple makeup, and I know some people criticize it, but I actually think it's really effective because you're not watching like, oh, that's Nick Cage. You're like, I guess that's Nick Cage, but boy, he looks weird. Like,
yeah, I've heard mixed reviews. Like, I heard that it was very much an homage to Silence of the Lambs, but Silence of the Lambs did it better. And I think we're like, yeah, but that's like Silence of the I
Don't
wouldn't
compare it to a brilliant film and then say the brilliant film did it better. Like it was a brilliant film. Of course it did it well.
I don't think that it's like, yeah, comparing apples and oranges. Like,
yeah,
you've got Anthony Hopkins compared to Nick Cage, which I don't know if they play similar characters at all, but I'm just saying, like, they're not, and
no, they're not
the same actor.
No, they're not the same at all. Like Anthony Hopkins plays a psychopath, but he's very measured. He's very well spoken. Like he's very thoughtful. And Nick Cage plays a psychopath who is unhinged, like which is very much in his wheelhouse. Like that's what you want Nick Cage to be unhinged. If he's not unhinged, something you want him to do that. Well, I wonder if you might have seen it, but yeah, I think like especially you, Andre, I think you'll dig it. Like it's just really creepy, really unsettling. Yeah, like it got under my skin. Like, and maybe it's because I had to walk home from the cinema to my apartment in like not the nicest neighborhood, like certainly not like a scary neighborhood, but definitely like at 11:30 at night in another country. Probably not my smartest move, so it did definitely get under my skin a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting. Like I won't go as far as to say it's fun because I don't think it's fun, but it's definitely like it does exactly what it sets out to do. And like it confused me. I had to like Google the ending. I'm like, can someone explain this? Because I'm confused. And I don't think it was a film thing. I think it was a me thing. I just don't think I got it. So, but I really enjoyed it. So.
All right, yeah, because I know nothing about it. I haven't I only watched like half the trailer before I had to go do something else like Northern Drop. So yeah, I know nothing about it. But when you say unsettling, is it like horror film unsettling, or are we talking more along the lines of Human Centipede 2 unsettling?
Neither. I wouldn't say it's horror film unsettling, although there are definitely some moments that made me jump. I wasn't expecting to. But certainly not Human Centipede 2. Like no, it like Gabby, I could recommend this one to you. Like you could watch this one in terms of like, there's not gonna be any weird, old man child relationship stuff. There's not gonna be. It's not gross. It's not gory. There's like one moment that's kind of violent, and bloody, but you kind of. It's not like it kind of catches you by surprise, but it also builds. So the first time like there's blood, you're kind of like, oh. And then you can kind of notice, you're like, okay, if I'm not into this, I can turn away. No, it's just tonally like very like, it kind of keeps building because it's a suspense film, it's a mystery. Like you don't really know what's going on, you don't know who this killer is. It reminded me quite a bit of Red Dragon. I don't know if you've ever seen Red Dragon.
Yeah.
If you haven't, it's in Film Snob HQ. You can pick it up and watch it. I think it is. I think I bought it on Blu-ray. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of that as well. So I actually would say it's probably more comparable to Red Dragon than Silence of the Lambs. I think like the killer, the way.
Is that because in Red Dragon the like bad guy is a bit of a psycho, like
he is, but he also like targets families and stuff like that. Whereas Hannibal in Silence of the Lamb and Buffalo Bill, their kind of MO is very different. Where I think like the killer in Longlegs is probably a little bit more like the Tooth Fairy, in terms of like what he looks for, that sort of thing.
Sure.
But I would say it's scarier. I would say it's scarier than Silence of the Lambs and scarier than Red Dragon. Like it's not a horror film, but like in the opening credits, like before the opening credits, is like a pre-credit scene. Like I knew they were gonna. I could tell they were gonna do a jump scare, and it still got me. I was like, oh, you son of a. Like it just it got me so good. I was like, damn it. But yeah. It's an interesting film. I think you'll dig it. Like tonally, it's like the mood. It's all about the tone and the mood and the feeling. So it's just like this kind of ongoing, like, oh my god, I just like wanted this to let like it. I don't know if it's like an anxious film. I don't know if it gave me anxiety, but like it definitely will like kind of keep you like on the edge of your seat, like what's going to happen next, that sort of thing. So,
okay. What have the overall reviews been like for it?
Pretty good. A lot of people, like especially in the horror community, people have really dug it. It's been received quite well. There's been a bunch of new horror stuff that I haven't had the chance to see that I want to. Like I want to see In a Violent Nature. I want to see Maxine. Like just haven't had a chance to get to any of them. So I'll get there eventually. Like Alien Romulus is out this weekend, so I don't know if I'll get to see that.
Yeah. I definitely want to see that too.
And early reviews are really good. Like people are saying, like it's a horror flick, which is what it should be. So.
Woo! There's a horror movie that I watched recently with a mate. Came out last year. It's called Baghead. If you've ever heard of it.
I watched Baghead.
You watched Baghead, yes. All right, awesome.
The one about the British girl in the pub. Is that the one?
Yeah.
I watched that. I watched that last week.
I thought again, I kind of knew nothing going in. I told Gabby the movie title, like, and she said it sounded fucking stupid, but
That's fair. It is stupid. Like it is a dumb name, and like as a premise, like I think they could have gone harder. I think like they tried to cater too much to like ticket sales, so they're like, oh, we'll just make it like PG-13. But like there's some good scares in it, and the concept is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought,
But the name is dumb. Like it's a dumb
Yeah,
name.
but, was it Baghead? I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, like that is the most unoriginal name I've ever heard. Like it's like, I don't know, calling a movie about a bear. Like I don't know what it's about. I didn't look it up. I have got nothing, like I've got no idea in my head. But if someone says, oh, do you want to go and watch Baghead? I'm assuming someone's got a bag on their head.
I guess finding Nemo must be really dumb. Anyway,
Yeah. Have you seen Toy Story? Spoilers. Baghead reminded me of something else, though. I'm trying to think what it reminded me of. There was another movie like it made me
I'm
think
never
of.
talking ever again.
Sorry.
Please talk. I was gonna say Baghead did remind me of something else when I was watching it, but I can't remember what it reminded me of now. But anyway, that's fine. Like it felt reminiscent of a film I had seen that was kind of similar. But it eludes me, which is fine. Well, you guys have been watching some cool stuff. That's good. Yeah, I recommend Longlegs. I think you'll dig it. Like, I don't know when it's out on physical. I think it's another couple of weeks. But and I don't know when it'll hit streaming. It might already be on Prime if you want to pay to rent it. Which I never want to pay to rent. I'm like, no, if I'm paying, I'm keeping it.
I think the rentals are kind of expensive even. Like they're like $20-something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane. I've done it like twice because stuff that I'm like, no, I cannot wait. I need to see it. It's not coming to cinemas. I'll do it, but otherwise, nah.
Yeah.
If I'm paying, I'm keeping it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
cool beans. Well, let's jump into let's talk movies. That's all we've been doing, which has been wonderful. Topic of the day. I don't know if it's an official like Film Snob podcast topic. I've told a couple other people about it, and some have been getting on board, so it might become the overall topic of the month or whatever it may be. But fantasy, we're jumping into magic and fantasy world, and this came to me because we were doing some posts on Instagram, and I kind of ticked all the movies I'd seen from the horror genre, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's seen pretty much all of them." And then Gabby retaliated with fantasy, and like you outdid me. You're like, "I've seen more than you, James." Like that's kind of cool. And I was like, "Well, we should definitely talk fantasy movies today." So before we jump into your list, which I'm very excited for, where does it begin for you? Like, I feel like fantasy is that genre that most people kind of get into as children. So is that what it is for you? Like, where does fantasy begin for you? What's kind of the draw? Tell me all about it, guys.
Well, like this list was kind of hard for me to make because like it was really hard for me to make this not all Disney films. Which if it was my way, then I would have done the whole thing. But I'm kind of waiting just for like a Film Snob's animated movie episode, so I'm just gonna kind of wait for that.
Oh, you should have messaged me and said animated. We can do animated films for sure. I have done one. I did do one animated episode with Josh, and afterwards we were like, we should have broken up to like Disney animation, Pixar animation, DreamWorks animation, because like we did our list, and then we talked for like an hour about every other animated film that would have gone on our list, and there was like 100 movies. So animation, like it was so broad. But anyway, I digress. We'll get there. I'm so sorry for interrupting. Continue, Andre.
No, yeah. I can have fantasy movies or all the childhood movies, like at least for me. And that's mainly on my list. I've got one Disney. I limited myself to one Disney film. And of course, like I wanted to do like the big ones that have been talked to death, like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars, because when you think fantasy, you think fairies, knights, and castles and swords and whatever, but fantasy can be a lot of like imaginary things.
I typed in fantasy like to see like what, because I'm not doing a list today. I'll do a list at some point, but I didn't do one today. And I was like, what would I put on my list other than the 3 Lord of the Rings films and 2 Harry Potter films? And then I saw like
Exactly.
they included Star Wars, they included Iron Man. I was like, is that fantasy? Like I'm thinking like castles and knights. Like I'm thinking magic. I'm thinking like I'm not thinking, billionaires in robot suits and space and stuff. But I guess technically fantasy is the beauty of fantasy is whatever you want it to be. So we are going to play pretty hard and fast with the rules like we did with another topic recently, which I've forgotten now. Like everything you want to be fantasy will count for sure. But you did well to only have one Disney film because it would have been very easy to just like rack them up.
Oh, so easy. But yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a childhood thing. I think it's because it's like I'm struggling to articulate it, but
That's
with
okay. It's all good.
kids believe everything. So, when you show them a story, like when you read them a book, they're invested in the story because it's these wild ideas that they haven't been able to think of that then fuel their play pretend type games. And it really like breathes into kids' imaginations. So, when you're at that age where you can sit and watch a movie by yourself for a little while, the themes start to go from your early Disney movies like, Little Mermaid and that kind of stuff too, because that's a fantasy, but also then they start getting into, things like The Princess Bride, where you have those elements of
Love The Princess Bride.
Stories that like are very common in fantasy type films and books and things. And then you go into like as you start to grow up, and at least for me, the first Harry Potter movie I think came out when I was in prep or like just before maybe I was even in kinder when it
was
first came out.
2001, so I was in year 7.
Okay, so yeah, I would have been in prep when it came out, and then grade 2 Chamber of Secrets came out. So that was like that, and I was like a similar age to Harry at the time. So like it almost felt like a progression that I was going with it. So yeah, of course, like I could talk about Harry Potter for hours and hours, and the same for Lord of the Rings and those huge films that we have talked about so much. But I think the reason why we do enjoy them so much is because reality sometimes can be a little bit dreary and boring or a little bit too stressful. So you want to go back into that world that made you feel like it makes you feel like a kid again, where you didn't have those worries. And also like you can appreciate those like childlike ideals a lot more now because you've seen the other side of it, where when you're a kid all you wanted to do was be a grown-up and do all these cool things that grown-ups do. And now that the shoe's on the other foot,
what
I wish
idiots!
I could go back.
What idiots we were!
I know, such fools.
My daughter's great. She's like, I don't want to grow up. I'm like, never grow up.
Yeah, and you shouldn't.
You got the
It's
right
fine.
idea. You mentioned some big films, and I just want to share this news with you because they don't really do it in Australia. But you mentioned Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. At the end of the month of August, all the major theaters in the UK are screening the first 3 Harry Potter films again. You can just go and see the first 3 Harry Potter films in cinema.
That's sick.
And then throughout September, each weekend a different Lord of the Rings film is being re-released. And I was like, and I said to Ted, I'm like, we can't go because Zoe won't be able to see it. But like, can you imagine seeing like 2 towers on the screen again, like the Battle of Helm's Deep? But we might go see Harry Potter, at least one of them, because to see him. They're actually doing all the Spider-Mans as well, doing everything from Tobey's first one up until No Way Home. All the Spider-Man films.
Wow.
They do it. Like they just do it. Like they do anniversary screenings. Like everything. Like is getting re-released.
Yeah.
Like it's like, man, like making it really hard for me to come back home. Like you've got all the Blu-rays I want, and you put the cool movies back in theaters every month. Like that's awesome. I think that's a really interesting take, and I mean, I think that's pretty quite common for most people. It's like, yeah, you kind of with fantasy begin that early age, and then kind of just finding those new gateways. And you mentioned Harry Potter, you mentioned Lord of the Rings. And then I think you get to the adult fantasy films, which we may see on your lists. I'm not sure, but like the work of someone like Guillermo del Toro, who obviously is obsessed with fairy tales, like has been his entire career. I've seen a cheeky smile from someone across the globe, so we may see some Guillermo later. But it is interesting. And then I think about the works of Roald Dahl. I'm like, technically, Matilda is a fantasy film, and James the Giant Peach and stuff like that. I think like we're so ingrained to be like, oh well, it must be swords and knights and princesses. But like the more you think about it, like you said it
Very
really well
broad.
before.
Yeah.
You said it really well before, Andrew. He's like, it's like whatever you can imagine it to be. I'm like, well, imagination is kind of key, isn't it? So, I'm really excited to hear your lists. And now I am kind of regretting not doing my own ones. Look, I'm going to talk about my ones, but I'll do it later. It's fine. Who wants to go first? Normally I pick, but I'm going to leave it to you guys.
I'll go first. Yeah, I'll go first with mine.
Go for it, Andre. What's number 5? I haven't said that in a long time. The last time I asked them what their number 5 was like episode 95 or something. It's been a long time, so make it count. No, just kidding.
Shit.
Pressure.
Well, I want to preface that like a lot of these films are from my child. Well, actually, all the films are mainly from my childhood. One is from just a little bit later. But these are the movies that came to my mind when it's exactly what we were talking about before. Is that childhood awe and imagination of what fantasy is. So my first one is the Never-Ending Story.
Oh, I'm gonna disappoint you. I've never seen the Never-Ending Story. It was just never on my
You
radar.
still haven't seen it.
That's right. I have never seen it, but it is on Blu-ray here in the UK, so I'll have to pick up a copy.
Well,
I know about Atreyu. I know about Falcor. Like I know a few things. Like not Atreyu the band, which is what I became familiar with first. But yeah, tell me all about it. What is that Never-Ending Story you love, and give me some plot points.
Yeah, cool. So I've kind of like done my list a bit differently. Like I've written like a quick synopsis for the film, and then I'll go into my own words and why I like it, and then I have a couple of fun facts about the film as well.
Oh, nice! Look at you bringing it. Like, look at you. Like, you heard the last few episodes. You're like, we really need to make this one count. Like James by himself 4 weeks in a row does not do well. Good.
No, I'm actually coming prepared this time. The Never-Ending Story came out in 1984. It's a fantasy film directed by Wolfgang Petersen, based on the novel by Michael Ende. So the story follows a young boy named Bastian, who discovers a mysterious book titled Never-Ending Story. So as he reads, Bastian is drawn into the world inside the book, and the world is called Fantasia. So in this magical land, this magical land is threatened by a force called the Nothing, which is slowly consuming everything in the world. So in the book, the hero of Fantasia is a young warrior named Atreyu, who embarks on a quest to save the land by finding a human child who can give the Empress of this world of Fantasia a new name. So along the way, Atreyu encounters various fantastical creatures, including a luck dragon called Falcor. His horse dies in a swamp, which is really sad. And there's a big giant rock creature and a racing snail. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome. But like, how have I never watched this before? Like, it sounds amazing. Everything you said, I'm like, yes, I'm on board. Let's do this.
Good.
Falcor kind of looks like a Maltese Shih Tzu.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, like he's a dragon, but he's definitely a dog. Like,
so as Bastian reads this book, and he realizes that he is more than just a passive observer, and he is an essential part of the story. So eventually, Bastian enters Fantasia itself, where he must embrace his own childhood imagination and courage to help restore the land and save it from destruction, basically. Yeah, and that
sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. I'm like, I know everyone listening right now is like, "Hey, idiot! It is, and it's 30 years old. Like, what took you so long?" No, 40 years old. Oh my goodness. They're like, "What have you been doing with your life? Have you not watched it?" Yeah, it was just never on my radar as a kid. So by the time I kind of became aware of it, I was like, "Yeah, it passed me by." But I literally, while you were talking, I added it to my list of UK Blu-rays to buy. So I'll pick it up, and then in 6 months' time, I'll be able to watch it.
In 6 months.
There's no Blu-ray player in any of our apartments, so I just got to lug them around. I can look at the cases lovingly, but that's all right. Nice one. So yeah, that sounds awesome. I haven't seen it. So why did you connect with it as a kid? What was it about the flick that made you love it? Other than the obvious, which sounds amazing.
Yeah. So my dad bought this from I bought this like on VHS from for my sister and I to watch. And as again as a kid, I just like I'm gonna sound really cliche. Like I'm gonna reiterate myself, but it's just like you have a child, you have this boy who's just engulfed in like in this magical fantastic world with wacky characters and creatures and it's all about him overcoming courage and bravery and
Yeah.
and all the things my skinny little rake body couldn't do in the first place. So for me personally, I really connected with Bastion as a character, and the world that he's in, and Falcor, the Luck Dragon, is his companion throughout the whole thing. Yeah, there is that really sad scene in the middle where the horse gets trapped in the swamp and he dies, and but he spoiler alert, he's actually fine in the end, but yeah, it's just a really cool movie. It came out in 1984. The effects are outdated, but the puppetry is fantastic
I
for
was going to ask, it
Falcor.
must have a lot of like practical effects, a lot of puppetry and
Yes,
stuff. So yeah.
absolutely, yeah, and yeah, it's just it's a film that really connected with me as a kid. I watched it to death. Although even though every time the horse scene came on, I fast forwarded through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
trauma.
sad.
Mm.
I
But
think we all
yeah,
have
it's
that. Like as a kid, there's always at least one movie where, like I love this movie, but I need to skip this bit. Yeah.
Like The
So
Lion
that's
King.
yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, and yeah, that used to be me when I was a kid. Like, it was gonna make me cry. I'm like, I'm just gonna skip this bit. I don't need to cry today. Whereas now I'm like, please make me cry. Please make me cry 10 times.
you will cry. You will
We,
cry
we,
when you
we
watch the film.
watched we watched The Lion King last night, and I was like, "Oh no, the sad bit's coming up." And then I cried. I'm nearly 30 years old.
I showed Zoe
Why would
Wreck-It
I cry
Ralph
for something I've
yesterday.
seen 100 times?
Yeah, I showed Zoe Wreck-It Ralph yesterday, and I haven't seen it probably since it came out in theaters. And when Ralph, spoiler alert for a 12-year-old movie, but when Ralph goes to smash up the car, like I was like, oh, nope, gotta hold it together, like because it was getting me as well. So, I mean, everyone knows this is the show that I love to cry. So, I'm ready to cry at that horse, man. Even if it will be okay, I'm prepared to cry.
And this is actually part of my fun facts as well. The scene where Atreus' horse Artax sinks into the swamp wasn't just sad for us. Because apparently the scene was really difficult to shoot for the child actor, Noah Hathaway, because the horse was really distressed initially during that scene, and they faced a lot of technical issues and challenges actually lowering the horse into the swamp.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty ambitious for an 80s film. Like I was gonna say, and that's back
yeah,
when I think maybe like Peter had got involved, like the Humane Society got involved by the 80s, but I'm not sure. So, without getting too dark, like was it all on the up and up behind the scenes where they're kind of like, look, if the horse gets hurt, the horse gets hurt. Because sometimes, yeah, the dark secret of those older films is that, the animals weren't always taken care of. So
no.
yeah. Like
Um,
in Friday the 13th, the very first Friday the 13th movie, like there's a snake in the cabin. Like they cut a snake in half. That is a real snake that gets cut in half on screen.
Shit. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, oh
Yeah, I
dear.
won't. I won't tell you about Cannibal Holocaust. Um, that one's not for you, I don't think. But it is on the shelf. It is on the shelf if you want it. You definitely don't. I was edgy and cool when I bought that one. Anyway,
You were edging cool as a teenage film snob.
this not in my teen years, in my 20s. I'm like, I can handle anything. Show me Human Centipede 2. Show me Cannibal Holocaust. Now I'm like, I have a child. Can I watch Toy Story?
Yeah.
Like it's still dark, but at least animals don't get hurt. Oh boy.
And before I move it on to Gabby, yeah, one more fun fact. And this kind of sucks because you haven't seen the movie, so you won't really know the puppet. But the rock puppet, the rock biter, which is one of the best characters like in the film, in my opinion, was an enormous puppet that weighed over 1,000 pounds. So the puppet was actually required about 30 operators to bring it to life in each scene that it was in. Like the thing is massive, man. When you watch the
That's
film, you
cool.
see.
I love,
Yeah.
yeah. I obviously I don't have any visual representation or context for it, but like, I'm all about like puppetry and films and stuff like that. So I'm sure when I finally get a chance to watch it after I pick it up, like I'll be like, that's the thing Andre was talking about. That is cool. But that like just hearing you talk about like 500, like 1,000 pounds, that's 500 kilos. Like, that's nuts. That's like one of me. Thankfully, not quite.
What?
Not quite, thankfully. But anyway, that's cool. You've made me like, as always, like whenever you come and sell me on a film, you've made me very excited to go and see this. So I'm very keen to check it out. I think it's a
Awesome.
great. You met the brief and you like overdid. So I think that's great.
Yes.
Pressure's on, Gabs. What's number 5 for you?
Mine initially, my number 5, sorry. Initially I did have Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Such a
because like how can you go past it? But because have talked about it a lot, I was like, I'll talk about something that I haven't talked about before. And that movie is Bridge to Terabithia.
Okay, so another flick that I haven't seen, like, and
you
that's
should watch it.
well, I know that my wife did not like the book. I know that. So she was like, "You won't like, don't watch it. It's not good." But also, like, when it did come out, it was clearly made for a younger audience. To me, I think I would have been like in my mid-20s. I'd be like, I'm not saying no, maybe not even, maybe my early 20s. Like,
I was in 2007, so I would have been in grade 6 at the time.
okay, so I was
So I think
19. So I was like
yeah.
film and cinema. Like, I'm like, I'm not watching that one. I was very snobby.
Yeah. So basically I think I was like probably a similar age to the characters in the movie. So like it was kind of easy to relate, but basically it's a story of this kid who his family kind of is a little bit I'm not gonna say poor, but like they just don't have lots of money. So at the start you sort of see like the living conditions aren't amazing. And he goes to school and he gets bullied a little bit, and his little sister does too. And then this new girl comes to the school and he makes friends with her.
Yeah.
And they basically and they live down like the same road or whatever on the bus. So they start like hanging out and they make this like fantasy world, like a pretend type world called Terabithia, and the characters and like creatures and stuff that they meet somewhat echo like stuff going on in their lives.
It's quite a sad
and
one, isn't it? There's like it's a pretty, yeah.
Yeah, so like the ending's really sad, and like I think if I were to watch it again now, like I would be a sobbing mess still, because like what happens seems almost so unnecessary. Like, why have you done that?
Have you seen A Monster Calls?
No, so that's something, because I know we've spoken about that as well.
I
That's
think they're quite similar, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be, and from what I've read, because I think I read the plot for that, it is kind of similar.
It destroyed me. Like, it was a messy, like, I was crying a lot. Like, it's beautiful, it's well made, and like, but it is like, it will rip your heart out. Like, it messed me up when I watched it. So but well worth your time. Like, it's really, really well
Yeah.
done.
And so so it has Josh Hutcherson in it, and Anna Sophia Robb, and
I
also
thought it was Anna
Zoe
Sophia Robb.
Deschanel.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, so like the Josh Hutcherson's character, he sort of has a crush on his art teacher, and like towards the end she takes him on this like field trip by himself because he's like really into art, which I thought was like kind of random. I don't know if that's like a thing in America for teachers to do, to just go and like take a random kid in their class on a personal field trip. I feel like
No,
that's
it's not.
super inappropriate.
It's also not not typical for a hitman to train an 8-year-old girl. So,
yeah, so I guess like if it's in the movies, anything goes. But
Sure.
yeah, like that was like the one part where I was like, I don't know about that. But like because he's really into art, and that's I guess how they sort of develop these characters in the movie as well, all these fantasy characters, is because he's drawing them. And just like the way that like I guess their financial situation impacts him at school and in his own family, and just the family dynamics and how they change, and like it is quite an emotional ending. But I thought, yeah, it was really good when it came out. I don't think I've seen it since. I think I've only ever watched it once, but I really did like how the characters came to life. And I guess it does that thing which I was talking about, is that, you know, kids are full of imagination rather. And in that movie, they were bringing their imagination to life, because all kids play pretend at least for a little bit. And whether they're getting ideas from movies that they've seen or books that they've read or games that they're playing or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, okay, and I'm going to do this. And then, you know, they're, you know, playing a character that they've seen in a movie. One of my friends, he always laughs about like how when he was young, he used to pretend he was Legolas all the time, and you know, just be jumping off the couch. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was like pretty much every young boy at the time that they were coming out, because like he's like the coolest character. Like, you know, obviously all the other characters in Lord of the Rings are really cool, but like Legolas is the most like I guess peppy one. So you know, and he does all the cool like moves. So yeah, you'd want to play him if you were a young boy. And as a young girl, I was obviously very happy to watch Legolas on screen. I still am, frankly. But yeah, so I think that one's not like, it doesn't make me feel the best to watch, obviously, because that has that like really sad
It
ending.
clearly had a lasting impact on you. I was just thinking, like, you weren't saying it the one time, but yeah.
It is like it's a kind of cathartic release.
For sure. Nice. Yeah,
Yes.
it's one of those ones that I've wanted to watch, and I don't know why. Like I haven't. Like, I know that obviously my wife says like she doesn't like it, but I watch stuff my wife doesn't like all the time. Like, do you know what I mean? So I will get to it. I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know where it's available, but I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, like as you were describing it, I was like, this sounds like quite a bit like a Monster Calls. Which yeah, like, oh boy, that is that will make you very sad. But well-made movies. Excellent. Good stuff, guys. Andre, which brings back to you. What's number 4 on your list?
I haven't actually seen Bridge of Terabithia.
Movie night tonight. You're going to cry on the couch.
Now my 4th spot, I've got Hellboy 1 and 2.
Perfect.
Like
so
it,
good.
like again, like it, like I've only realized now that aside from my Disney movie, the other, like every other thing like on my list has some sort of like puppets or animatronics.
Nice.
I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, like
I knew, like when I said Guillermo del Toro, even before I looked at your face, I'm like, he's got to have Guillermo del Toro on his list. I know he's going to. He loves him.
I love
so
him.
I'm
I love
very
him to death.
excited. I'm so glad you included number 2 as well, because people write off number 2 quite a bit. Number 2, I actually like better than number 1. So
I like them both for different reasons. Like I think I absolutely fell in love with the first Hellboy. And I think that's kind of where I also fell in love with like, you know, the gothic fantasy, like really like the darker side of fantasy, you know, monsters, like scary monsters and scary creatures, and you know, the things that go bump in the night.
Such a great line. Like even in the trailer, we are the thing that bumps back. Like what a great line.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. So good. You know,
I saw it in theaters, Hellboy. Like I saw it I saw that.
Ron Perlman, John Hurt. Like, oh, I love John Hurt. I love that man.
Doug Jones is Abe Sapien, who is like he's the water creature in Shape of Water. Like
Yep.
Doug Jones has been in everything. He's
Everything.
the hand thing in Pan's Labyrinth,
And yeah.
which I know was you brought to a list last year, which I was very happy for. Yeah, it's Selma Blair. Like previously, she'd only really been known for doing like rom-coms and stuff, and then you see her as like this fire casting like demon witch. Like, oh, so good.
Yeah, I really like. I know. Like a third film was on the way, it wasn't like unfortunately it wasn't meant to be, and due to creative differences between Guillermo del Toro and and the studio, which really sucks because like a trilogy would have been fantastic.
Well, they're still on board. Like they're still like anytime someone wants to let us do it and fund it, we'll do it. Because even like I think Ron Coleman's like 80 years old or something now, and last year he was like, "Hey, I'm just waiting for the green light and I'll go and do it."
That would
So
be
yeah,
great.
I mean, there is a new Hellboy movie coming out either this year or next year. I don't know if you've seen
Really?
the trailer for. Yeah, I think it's called. Oh, what's it called? The Crooked Man or something? It's like
Ooh.
it's set in Hellboy's like earlier years, so kind of like it's like his first one, like one of his first missions.
Okay.
Hellboy, hang on, the Crooked Man, and yeah, it's a different actor playing Hellboy, so it's not David Harbour again. And I quite liked the most recent Hellboy. I thought it was really underrated. Like it's not as good as the Del Toro stuff, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be enjoyable. But yeah, this new one, yeah, it's kind of set in the earlier years, and it looks like true horror. Like it looks pretty creepy.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, yeah, okay, I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, like the highlights for for both those films, like especially for me, I mean from a fantasy creature point of view, like like just the introduction of the troll market in the second one, that was
yes,
great. I thought that
that
was
was the thing
so.
that divided people. That was the thing where people were like, "Oh, like once they get to that market, like I don't know what's going on." I'm like, "No, that's cool. Like that's the best
Mm,
part." I love that, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
leads to like the fight with the giant leaf monster, and like every time I said that like
yes.
plant monster, I'm like, well, poison ivy clearly can work, so why aren't we doing it? Like, come on. Um,
Exactly. I had to put it on a fantasy list because well, it's what it is. Like it's just quintessential fantasy, and yeah, it happens to be a darker tone of like of it. Guillermo del Toro base of those movies off the Dark Horse comics and created by Mike Magnolia,
yeah,
which
yeah,
yeah, which I haven't read, but he'll also have another mention later on my list. Da-da-da. Um,
nice.
but yeah, love both those movies to death from like even if just purely from a visual aspect, the practical effects are amazing. I love practical effects, like and the puppet work, the animatronics is just like it's just fantastic. It really brings the world to life for that darker tone of fantasy.
Absolutely. And like for those who haven't read the Hellboy comics or haven't seen the movies, like the premise is basically in World War II, Hitler sent a bunch of Nazis because this part of this is true. There's that apparently Adolf Hitler was fascinated by the occult. So like he always had people like investigating like witchcraft and all sorts of stuff. So that apparently is true. But then in the movie Hellboy and in the comics, like he sent a faction of people off to open a portal to hell, and something came out, and it was Hellboy. But he got thankfully rescued by the good guys, so that because he was meant to be a tool of war for the Nazis in the comics. And that's why we've got that weird like clockwork man who like has sand inside him and stuff. Like all the character
Yeah.
design is so cool. I love the robot in the second one, the one who's always like I think he has to like basically babysit Hellboy, and he's voiced by Seth MacFarlane, which is insane.
I know.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I forgot his name as well. Klaus. I think his name was
Yes, that's
Klaus.
exactly who it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand why the second movie get so much flack. Like I love it so much. Like it delves deeper into the lore of that world, and I love world building so much. Yeah.
I think like I think it was just a timing thing. It came out at a time where superhero movies would get a lot of sequels, but the sequels were never very good, or like at least were not treated as seriously. Like we had Spider-Man 2, which kind of was a surprise to everyone, but statistically speaking, most comic book movies, most superhero films, most action films that were sequelized, you kind of were like, okay, it's the same thing all over again. And I think Hellboy just went under the radar for a lot of people. But
Yeah,
that sequel is really good. It's like the characters
really
are
good.
cool, like the villains are cool, like the style, like you gave Guillermo del Toro more of a budget so he could do more things, and I think that's probably where it failed, is they gave him that budget, but Hellboy, the first one was successful because it was low budget and a lot of people had heard of it. The second one, they put too much money and weren't able to make their money back. I think that was part of it as well. But I love them both. I think they're excellent. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
do you have fun facts? Did you go through your fun facts? I
Yeah.
love
So
them.
it's like I've only really got much. I've only really got one for this one. But much of the first movie was filmed in Prague again, and the Czech Republic because the city is known for its like rich and historic Gothic architecture. So yeah, so it was awesome because they really needed that atmospheric tone that those specific locations could bring. And the choice of location was also beneficial because they're taking advantage of the European tax incentives. So helped keep the film budget down in comparison to filming in America.
Nice.
But yeah, fantasy film, love it to death.
That's why Eli Roth shot like the Hostel films in Prague, because like it was way creepier and it was really cheap to do. Did you ever watch the animated ones? Because there was a couple of animated Hellboy films that Ron Perlman voiced, but I haven't seen them. But
No, I had no idea that was a thing.
yeah, there's a couple I think that he did. I don't know if Guillermo was involved. He might have been a producer, but he did do the voice in at least one or two of them. The same thing happened with Van Helsing. Like Hugh Jackman voiced Van Helsing in a couple of like animated things.
Oh,
They came
cool.
out.
Okay.
They came out around the same time. But yeah, I remember like I think Hellboy really got me interested in special edition DVDs. I never bought it, but when it came out, like there was a special edition DVD and it came with like the stone fist, and you could get like your own like mini Hellboy stone fist. I'm like, that's really cool. And so then I
That's
started
sick.
Was that around
really
the same time as like Hulk hands were cool?
Oh my God, Hulk hands.
it's probably around the same time, yeah, because Hulk was 2003, and that's when the Hulk hands came out. So it probably is around the same time. There's also a really good Hulk hands joke in Deadpool and Wolverine, which I won't repeat. Hello, come here. My daughter has joined us on the podcast. The biscuit's too sticky. She's eating a chocolate caramel biscuit. Do you want to give that to Mummy? And then that way she can take care of it for you. She'll probably eat it for you. In the UK, you can get a digestive biscuit, which you can get in Australia, and you can get a chocolate digestive biscuit, but you can also get a chocolate-coated caramel-filled digestive biscuit, which is...
Ooh.
And here I was convinced that digestives were like somewhat healthy.
Yeah, they're meant to aid. Well, they've got like wheat and stuff in them, so I think the idea is they aid digestion. They like the fiber.
They've got like fiber in
that
them.
was the old
chocolate
days, but now they're like chocolate, marshmallow, caramel, whatever. Just like smack it in your mouth and get fat. I'm like, yes. Yeah. Really great choices, Hellboy. And have you seen the third one? The one that obviously wasn't Del Toro and Ron Perlman, but have you seen the one that came out a few years back?
Yeah. Like, look, I think you know what? I think I actually went a bit too like teenage film film snobby on it. I went in I went in with the expectation like this isn't Ron Perlman, this isn't gonna do. So I just went in like wanting to hate it, which is a really shit attitude. But I didn't hate it. It was it was fine. But in terms of the tone, like again, and what I already knew and what I already loved, it just didn't hit the mark. It's not a bad movie.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, it's never going to be those films, but I did like that they at least were able to take the gloves off. Be like, hey, just whatever you want to do with this, like, do it. Like, go unrated, go violent, go cursing and stuff like that. And they do have that awesome shot of him like holding a sword, riding a dragon. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. Like,
yeah, that's cool. Like,
yeah,
that is objectively cool. Hellboy on a dragon holding a sword. Like, yeah.
Nice one. Oh man, these are great lists. What's number 4 for you, Gabs?
So I put down Arthur and the Invisibles, which that is now like because when I was looking at it online, it's been like it was released as Arthur and the Invisibles in Australia, and in the US, but it's like online known as Arthur and the Minimoys.
Yeah, so it's a French film.
Yeah.
Directed by the director of Leon. Um,
Oh,
we
there you
keep coming
go.
back. We keep coming back to Leon.
Oh, it's always Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was like it said it was released by the Weinstein Company. Ooh.
Oh man,
But
like oh no, this horrible history.
yeah, I know.
All these people involved.
Um,
I've never seen After Invisibles. It came out again. I was probably an adult by the time it came out. I
It's
haven't
now
seen
actually, this is something that I will encourage you to buy overseas because you
it.
can't get it here. But it's really, really fun. So basically, the story is that this boy lives with his grandparents, and his grandfather has recently like just disappeared, leaving his like grandma to look after him. And basically, his grandpa used to be kind of like an explorer, and they used to go on adventures like in Africa, and he's got like
Oh,
all
that's
these
cool.
books and stuff like documenting his travels and everything. And this like property developer is like, oh, basically you owe us all this money, and if you don't give it to us in 2 days, like we're kicking you out of your house, we're going to steal your house, basically. And so because Arthur's like grandfather like did a lot of work with like tribes in Africa, he told his grandson that he's got like these rubies, these like jewels and stuff from like an African tribe that he had made friends with. And so the
Okay.
kid thinks, okay, I'm going to try and find these rubies so we can pay this guy off. And, I need to find my grandpa, because he's convinced that the grandpa's like somewhere around. Because one of the other tribes that he made friends with were like, so there was this African tribe full of like really tall, like muscular men, and the other tribe is like really, really tiny, like minuscule people. They're kind of like elves, but like really small. And so anyway, he goes to try and find like his the rubies, and finds like his grandpa's like books and like how to get into their world. And he basically goes into their world and has to like deal with a bunch of challenges in between to get these rubies. But at the end, like everything is a-okay. There's lots of in between stuff. So this one it is a nice ending, this one. So like it's a lot more of a smoother watch. But like what I didn't appreciate, I guess, at the time, because what I really liked was like the animation in it. It was really cool. But there are so many like names in this movie that you like don't think of. So like Freddie Highmore, who many people might be more familiar with now as like the good doctor.
But he was Charlie in Charlie Chocolate Factory.
That's right. But he plays like the main character, and then Mia Farrow is the grandma.
Wow.
And then Jimmy Fallon is in it. Snoop Dogg's in it. Madonna's in it. David Bowie's in it. Robert De Niro is also in it.
Wow.
So like all these like random like, I guess, like a salad bowl full of people just having voices in this kids movie, which I mean, it's not really winning awards or anything like that. Like I don't know what the Rotten Tomato score is, but not that I care, because I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of a movie that way back when we actually did used to buy DVDs, Keanu would have got it in one of those like 3-in-1 or 5-in-1 type DVDs that you could buy from like Big W or something.
Yeah,
And
it's like
one
here
of
are
the
five
ones
movies that kind of relate, I guess. Like his
yeah,
five
they
random.
I guess like they're from the same year and they feature young actors. Here, they're all in one movie.
Exactly. I remember those as well. I'm like, this makes no sense, but okay, sure.
Yeah, right. So like it was one of those. And it was this one. I think it was because this particular set had this movie. It also had the Spiderwick Chronicles, which also featured Freddie Highmore in it, and maybe one other. And it probably did have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So like a trilogy of him.
Yeah.
Not that the movies really have anything to do with each other. Spiderwick Chronicles was like an alternate for this on my list, because like I like that movie as well. But I do like this one a bit more. I just think it's just a lot more fun and bright, and like there are like dark elements in it, but they are kid friendly. So something that you can watch with a younger child where they're not going to get scared and they can have fun with it. Yeah, so I really like that movie.
It's also nice to see like an animated film that isn't from one of the big studios, because I'm not sure who made it. I'm sure it was distributed by Sony or someone. Like it certainly wasn't Disney or DreamWorks. But like it is nice to see like other studios like, hey, we also animate, so it doesn't have to be like the two. Like it can be something else. Yeah, I remember seeing that on the shelves a lot when I was selling DVDs, and that was a pretty popular one for kids. So, and I remember, yeah, I'd look at the back, like, geez, like everyone's in this movie. Like, how did this happen? And then you're like, oh, Luc Besson. Well, everyone wants to work with Luc Besson, so that's why he directed it. Very cool. I wish I had more. I just haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I will take you up on the recommendation for sure.
Yeah, it's really good. And like something, I'm not sure like how long Zoe sits through a movie for, but like definitely
she does now.
when,
Yeah, she can do it.
yeah.
Now,
so like it's definitely something you could watch with her, because there's nothing in it is like too old to really get, and I don't think it's like too scary where she won't want to watch it.
She's like we're pretty good. Like if there's anything she is scared of, she will cover her eyes, or she'll ask me to cover her eyes, so we can do that. And anything goes over her head is fine because she doesn't understand it at all. That's why like here's a bad parent alert, but that's why we'll watch The Office with her around, or Seinfeld, because like anything that's too grown up, she's not gonna get anyway. So
Sure.
nice one. I'm so glad someone has seen that movie, because I haven't seen it. I didn't know anyone had seen it. So like it's nice to know like, oh, someone whose recommendations I trust, because you've recommended a bunch of stuff to me, and everything I've watched so far. Watched Steel Magnolias because of you. I watched The Last Samurai because of you. I haven't got Memoirs of a Geisha yet, but I think it is available over here, so I'll be picking that bad boy up as soon as I can.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Awesome. Strong recommendation, which brings us back to you, Andre. We're almost halfway through the list. What are you gonna hit me with now? How does it get better than Hellboy? Like, what have you saved?
Well, like again, this is like a personal list. But and some people might not call this fantasy, but screw it, it's my list. So Who Framed Roger Rabbit is my third one.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Because fantasy cartoon characters are fantasy. Okay, screw it. But
Well,
yeah.
talking rabbits aren't real, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fantasy. So it's absolutely fantasy. So yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a live action slash animated hybrid directed by Robert is it Zemeckis?
Yeah, he did.
Zemeckis.
He did Back to the Future as well.
Yeah. So the movie is set like in 1947, in 1947 in Hollywood. Like, and the film takes place where like in a world where cartoon characters coexist with humans. So the story follows Eddie Valent, a private detective who holds a grudge against Toons after one killed his brother. And Eddie is hired to investigate allegations that Roger Rabbit, a Toon that suspects his wife Jessica Rabbit of having an affair. And eyebrows at Jessica Rabbit, because just like my little 14-year-old brain when I first watched that was like, whoa.
It is insane. Like,
it's so dumb. It like the proportions like on that woman are just ridiculous. But like again, 14-year-old brain. So Eddie's investigation leads him to uncover a conspiracy involving an evil person who plans to destroy Toontown and replace it with a freeway. So as the plot unfolds, Eddie and Roger team up to expose the real culprit and save Toontown.
I rewatched this for the first time. I think it was last year, and it's insane. Like it's such a wacky movie, so well done. Bob Hoskins, like good on him, because he's acting against nothing for so much of that movie. But like I love some of the like it's kind of this monumental film because it's never really been done again, where
No.
you have Warner Brothers and Disney characters sharing the screen, and apparently the contracts were insane. Where they had to all right, well, if Daffy Duck's on scene for 3 seconds, that we need to have Bugs, we have to have Mickey Mouse on screen for 3 seconds because it's going to be the same amount of shared time. And it's also based, so like that's insane. It's based on what I believe is quite an adult short story. Like the book it's based on is not so kid friendly as far as I understand. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it's a lot more grown up. And yeah, Jessica Rabbit is just, like how does that character exist?
I
Like,
know.
I wanted to be her when I saw the preview of it, and I'm like, oh my God, that is what I want to look like when I'm a grown up. And then I've seen like people do iterations of her like as Halloween
like
costumes,
cosplays
like
and
Heidi.
stuff.
Yeah, and like even Heidi Klum's like the one that sticks out to me because like they did like a what she would look like in real life, and that was actually terrifying. So
Yeah.
I do like the more makeup-y ones more than the prosthetics ones because those look terrifying. But yeah, this is, more evidence of Hollywood promoting unrealistic beauty standards. But lucky it's a fantasy, right?
Well, I think like, and you're absolutely right, but I think it's meant to be like, look, this is the 1940s dame in distress. Like she has to look like they were in those.
Yes.
But I agree with you. Also, Christopher Lloyd's back. He worked with Zemeckis in Back to the Future, and he's back again as
Yeah.
Is it Judge Doom? Is that his name?
Judge
Like,
Doom. Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Like, spoilers. I think it's all in the name, to be honest. Like,
Yeah. And having a name like Judge Doom doesn't quite
and he's terrifying, especially when you see like what he really looks like. Oh my God. Like, even when I watched it like last year, it might have been this year, it might have been before I went away. I was like, oh my God, like even as a guy in his mid-30s, that's scary. It's a great flick, man. It's so good.
Yeah, like he has those bright red eyes, like in the really, really high pitched voice. Like that scared me when I first watched that movie. But I'm gonna say this about about everything like on this list, but I absolutely love that movie. I mean, it's what I'm all about. You have even though there's not a lot of in terms of puppeteering, they're not actually doing puppets, but because they need to puppeteer objects in the world that these 2D drawn animated characters are interacting with is just so cool. And the film itself apparently was an absolute nightmare to make simply because of that reason.
And I was like, can you imagine? Like, it's one thing like nowadays where actors are interacting with like CG and there's like they, put an orange on a stick or whatever, and that's what you're meant to look at, or they have the CG like all those like dots on the actual actor so they can make it like a natural type of facial movement and things like that. But like back in the day when, this was being filmed as a human actor interacting with what's meant to be a cartoon, there's not even that physicality that you can even relate to at that time. So I can imagine it'd be quite difficult as even just the actor and then the director and I guess all the prop people trying to figure out where to place things because where would the cartoon character fit in that scene?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how they did it. Like it's a magic trick that movie exists. Like the fact that it's also good, like I don't know how they did it. Like it seems like such an impossible task for when it was made. I was just thinking there actually is something similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's not quite as mature as Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But I don't know if you've seen on Disney Plus Chippendale Rescue Rangers. But they did a reboot. So that was a cartoon in the 90s, and they did a reboot of it, starring Andy Samberg and John Mulaney. And it's the same thing. Like they used to be in that cartoon in the 90s, and now they've gone their separate ways. But then, like cartoons they don't get murdered. The cartoons get pirated. So what happens is people kidnap cartoons and sell them to like basically like unofficial distributors, and they get reanimated to look like cheap knockoffs. It's really good. Like it's really fun. And it's kind of in the same vein as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but not quite as grounded. Well, grounded's not the right word, but it's not quite as, I guess, grown up as Roger Rabbit. But it's worth the time for sure.
Right, but the film still won like 4 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And again, I'm really glad that it was a commercial success, and not just like a cult classic. So yeah, it's a fantastic film. And my fun fact for this one, so Bob Hoskins obviously had to act alongside characters that weren't physically there. So to prepare to do that, he studied his daughter's interactions with her imaginary friends and spent
That's sweet.
and spent months practicing with puppets at home, whilst also interacting with with his daughter to kind of like get that flow of acting.
That's really sweet. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a great flick. It's one of those flicks I haven't seen enough. Like I've seen it a few times, but it's as I said, I don't know how it exists, especially for the time it was made. Like it should not work, and yet it's brilliant.
Should not.
So, nice.
But yeah, that's my number 3.
I like it. What do you got, Gabby? What's number 3 for you? Oh, please, I hope I've seen it. I want to talk about
it. So my number 3 is Zathura: A Space Adventure.
I have seen this one. Excellent.
Yes, good. Me too. Me too.
So this is kind of like, it was, before the remake of Jumanji came out.
Yeah.
It was like the modern Jumanji, because I think
100%.
Jumanji came out in like was it 95 or?
Jumanji was like 90, it was like 95, 96, and then Zathura, I want to say, was about 10 years later, because I remember.
Yeah, it was 2005.
While I worked in the video store, and I was like, "Oh, is Josh Hutcherson in this one as well?"
Yes, yeah.
Sensing a theme here. Next up, Hunger Games.
You got me. No, so unfortunately not. But yeah, I really liked this one. I thought like the plot was very, very similar to Jumanji. Like, they siblings that, I mean, like in Jumanji it's like friends, but oh no, they are siblings, and then they sort of like argue and stuff.
So it's Alan and his friend at the beginning of Jumanji. Then Alan gets sucked in and she runs off.
Right.
And then like 30 years later,
and then it's like Kristen Dunst and her
the
brother,
little monkey boy.
Monkey boy. But it's very similar. Like they're fighting, and then they're in a game that becomes like, the little one wants to play the game, but it's not. The older one's like not interested, and then they get sucked into the game pretty much, where the game becomes the reality, and they have to sort of work together to like get out of the game, or like have everything get back to normal. I thought it was a really good like modern take on like an already really cool idea.
Was it Jon Favreau who directed it? Did he do it? I feel like Jon Favreau directed it, like before he did Iron Man. I thought it was like maybe his last one before Iron Man. I could be wrong. I thought he did Zathura.
Let me see. It was, but yeah, Jon Favreau. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone else like involved in it.
Dax Shepard, I think, plays the spaceman. Or
so he plays the astronaut, and again, like spoilers for a nearly 20-year-old movie, but it turns out that he's actually like another universe version of the older brother, because in the movie they like basically they roll a dice and they get a card, and the card tells you what's happening, so whether it's like a good card or a bad card, and the card gives him like a wish that he could wish for anything, and the brother, by this time the astronaut's already there, and he's like, oh my god, what does he wish for? He's really worried, but he just wished for a signed football, whereas, and then you find out later in the movie that the astronauts are like an older, like a different universe iteration of that older brother who wished for his younger brother to have never been born. So because he did that, he got stuck in the game because you needed both players to finish. So, and I guess it's like, you learn the lesson that, you got to work together to get the best outcome with your siblings.
And Kristen Stewart's in as well, right? Like,
yes, she is. I think this was right. Yeah, this would have been
Twilight.
Right before Twilight. Yeah.
Yeah. She done Panic Room. She did this, and then she went to Twilight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, just a fun movie, but a little bit like it had that like sci-fi element that like I could get around as a kid, because it wasn't too sciencey. It was definitely more like very basic ideas, like spaceships, aliens were in space, meteors, whatever. And then Zathura itself is like a black hole. So that sort of stuff I could get behind, because it seemed like, I guess, somewhat cool to 2005, so 10-year-old me at the time. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I don't think I saw it in cinemas, but I definitely did have it. We had it on DVD, and before getting it on DVD, I think I rented it a bunch of times just because it was like a easy enough watch where we could watch it at a sleepover.
Yeah.
Because I think this is like the same sort of age that like Josh Hutcherson also did, like he did Bridge to Terabithia, but it was like the same time, around the same time as when he did that one with Brendan Fraser, like
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah, I really like that one as well. That's a good
Yeah.
movie.
Really interesting fact, I did know this, but I've forgotten it, is the guy who wrote Zathura did also write Jumanji. So he just writes board game books.
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because he wrote the book, because they were both based on books, and he also wrote Polar Express, which I didn't know. So
there you go. Which is like not the same thing, but
it's a Christmas board game.
Christmas board game.
I've actually never seen Polar Express because when that movie came out, it looked weird. Yeah, and apparently it is. So that and B movie, I'll get there eventually.
People who like, you know, how everyone has that one Christmas movie, at least one Christmas movie they always put on Christmas Eve or whatever. I can't understand the people that do Polar Express because the characters look like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Look, honestly, if your answer for best Christmas movie isn't one of the Home Alone films, and when I say one of them, they're one of the first two ones, I don't know what's going on. Because I've watched a lot of Christmas movies over the last couple of years because like we need to find a family Christmas movie. And all the ones I've watched, I'm like, well, this ain't it. Like it's Elf's pretty good. Elf's good.
I like Elf, The Grinch.
I like the new Grinch as well. I think the new Grinch is really underrated.
I haven't seen it. I know that like the kids at school, because last year we were obviously watching Christmas movies towards the end of the year when, you know, you have that week where you try and convince the kids not to come so the teachers can all do planning. And the kids in the room behind me were watching the new Grinch and we were watching like the old Grinch. I don't think it's that old, but I also think it's timeless, so whatever.
And when you say the old Grinch, you mean the Jim Carrey one, not the Boris Karloff one from the 60s.
That's correct, yes. Yeah. I don't think that they'd be keen on watching that one. I mean, getting them to just sit quietly watching a movie is tough enough. But yeah, the Grinch or Elf for me, I think, because they're like a bit funny. Home Alone, I think I watched with my year 8s last year, and I definitely get the appeal, but I also hate Kevin.
Yeah, like as a kid, it's very much the John Hughes thing because it's always John Hughes movies. Like if you watch a John Hughes movie as a kid, you like the kid character. If you don't see it to an adult, you're like, this kid sucks. Like Ferris Bueller was the same thing. I loved Ferris Bueller as a kid because I watched as a kid. My wife didn't. When she watched it for the first time, she was already a teacher. She's like, this kid sucks. And I was like, I guess it's because you didn't idolize him as a kid. Excellent. We got a little bit distracted by
I mean, I did feel bad for Kevin, but at the same time, I'm like, you're really freaking annoying. Take some responsibility. God damn.
Yeah. He gets there in the end until the sequel where he forgets everything he learned. And then he becomes friends with a bird woman. Not a fan of that plot point at all. I like number 2 except for those bits. Because like he's just lying. Like when he gives that to, he doesn't. Like he's like, we'll be friends forever. Like, shut up, Kevin. No, you won't.
Shut up, Kevin, you don't know that.
Also, she's a stranger. She's covered in birds. Like you could go anyway. I'm sure she's lovely. Zathura, good stuff. Really good film. And good cast as well. And Jon Favreau. Man, what a film. I gotta go back and watch Zathura. Andre, we are almost at the end, mate. What is number 2 on your list?
Alrighty, so this is my animated film, Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
This is the first one on your list that I haven't seen. But what's interesting is I almost watched it the other day. We ended up watching Sleeping Beauty because that's what Zoe wanted to watch. But Atlantis: The Lost Empire was actually like right up there for us. We almost watched that instead.
It's so good.
I know Maddie, who's a big, obviously a regular contributor on the show. She loves it as well. So it came out. I know it came out during that time where Disney were like, we need to try something different. Like, so they kind of moved away from
2001.
Moved away from princesses. They were kind of moving away from like typical like kind of fairy tales and morality stories. And they're like, hey, here's Treasure Planet. Hey, here's The
Yeah.
Lost
Yeah.
Empire. Hey, here's Emperor's New Groove, which, by the way, is still amazing.
Fantastic for
They
sure.
Yeah,
started
it
kind of
was-
mixing things up a little bit. Lilo and Stitch, they really moved away from what they've been known to do. So, and as when they came out, I was like, "What are you doing? I don't want to watch any of these." So that's why I haven't seen Atlantis. But I want to. I was like, "Go back to what you're good for." And I was in high school, so it was not cool to watch Disney films when you're in high school. So that was the problem that I encountered. But it is on my watch list to check out. So now that I've talked about a movie I haven't seen, please, Andre, tell us about Atlantis.
Yeah, like as you mentioned, it was a toss up between Atlantis and Emperor's New Groove, but I think. I think from like a fantasy point of view, there's magic, there's like this big adventure into this legendary city kind of thing. So just for me, it felt more fantasy to me. So the story follows Milo Thatch, a young linguist and cartographer working in a boiler room of a museum, who was obsessed with finding the lost city of Atlantis. So after discovering an ancient journal that contains directions to Atlantis, Milo is approached by an eccentric millionaire who funds the expedition to go find the city. Milo joins a diverse crew aboard a submarine led by Commander Rourke after a series of dangerous encounters, including a battle with a giant mechanical leviathan and Vinny making a bridge in 2 seconds. That's that's an inside joke for whoever has seen the film.
Okay, good to know. I'll get it later.
They eventually discover the hidden city of Atlantis. However, the crew's true intentions are revealed when Rourke and several members of the crew betray Milo, seeking to steal the city's powerful crystal and sell it for a profit. So Milo teams up with the princess of the city to get the crystal back and save Atlantis.
It sounds really cool.
It really is a great film, man. It's really, really fantastic. And yeah, in terms of Disney's it's exactly what you said. Like from back then, it wasn't really part of Disney's usual catalog. Where they're less focused on the musical aspect and more on action adventure.
Mm.
But yeah. Once again, absolutely fell in love with the film. Milo is a fantastic main character. He's not the burly hero. He's just a skinny nerd. And he's so relatable. He's so clumsy. But eventually he becomes a hero, and the cast is so much fun, man. It's so
I was
much
just
fun.
looking it up. It's Michael J. Fox. How did I not know this?
Yeah. The crew, the crew itself, they're such wacky but also well-rounded characters that you fall in love with every single one of them. You can tell in the voice work that the chemistry between the cast is so it's just there, man. It's so there. They feed off each other so well. Again, the film is notable for its unique visual style, inspired by the artist Mike Mignola, who made Hellboy.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yes. Yeah. So the film's distinctive and visual style is heavily influenced from from the comic book artist Mike Mignola. And he's actually like I said before, Mike actually served on the Hellboy movies as a production designer.
Yeah. You have to with Hellboy. You have to get Mike Mignola involved. No one else draws like that guy. His art style is so cool. And yeah, I can see it in the Atlantis imagery. It does look like Hellboy. It does look like Mike Mignola's stuff. That's very cool.
Yeah. And in terms of a Disney film from back in that day, it really is unique. It has a fantastic villain. Like I said, it has a fantastic cast. And it's kind of refreshing. Spoiler ahead, but at the end of it, it's not quite implied. It's a little bit implied that the hero and the princess get together, but it's not readily shown. So it's just like a little bit of fresh air where it's just not like,
Nice.
the hero and the princess are meant to be together, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's really really cool.
Yeah, Disney were taking
The
big swings. Like they were doing, and I think like because animation also evolved in the 2000s. Like we'd had Toy Story in the 90s, and I think Bugs Life as well. But then Monsters Inc. came out and changed everything. And then there was like
Mm,
Titan AE and the Final Fantasy movie, and like all these, like everyone was doing all these things with animation. Some of those I've never seen. Final Fantasy, I think I fell asleep through like 4 times when I went to the video store trying to watch that movie. But like they were so, and like I never played the game, so I just want to check it out. But I should go back and watch that movie now, actually. But yeah, animation was like it was a new horizon, and like Disney were clearly like we need to do something different. Like the era of like we've had our our Renaissance. We've had done Little Mermaid, we've done Beauty and the Beast, we've done Lion King.
mm,
Now it's time, and Aladdin. Now it's time for us to like change again. And you saw like this very like angular style, like in Titan AE doesn't again. I think it's that Mike Mignola art you mentioned. Um, Treasure Planet like had like a
yeah.
different style again. Again, I haven't seen Treasure Planet. Emperor's New Groove like looks like Disney, but a very different kind of Disney. They really did change, and like it's a very kind of like unappreciated era. I think, like by myself included, I haven't seen
Absolutely.
most of these films. Like it's yeah, what a good pick. Like you, like everything you
Yeah.
guys are telling me today, I'm like, I need to go and watch this. I just want to go watch these now.
Like seriously, James, if you want just a really, really good animated adventure with a fantastic cast, great action, like it is a must watch.
Nice, very very cool. That is a good one. Which brings us to you, Gabby, to your number two. What do you got?
So, yeah, so my number two, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it came out in 2007. It's a little bit, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of pirates, it's got a little bit of witches, it's got a little bit of
I know what you're talking
space,
about.
it's got a little bit of everything. It's called
I
Stardust.
love Stardust. Okay, look, I'm sorry, like Andre, your list is excellent. It really is. But Stardust is my favorite film that's been listed so far. Stardust is a masterpiece. They just announced, I think it was a like an anniversary edition. They do like a special steelbook and everything for it. Like they're re-releasing
Oh,
Stardust.
okay. Yeah,
Oh my
I
God, I
love
love
this
Stardust.
movie. This was one of those, another one of those like 2 or 3 pack movies that Kiana would have gotten.
Mm.
And yeah,
It
we
is a
watched
bit
it.
like it's. I think it is a bit like Princess Bride. There's got like a lot of similarities to Princess Bride.
Yeah, yeah. Like again, really great cast, like Claire Danes, Charlie Cox, Michelle Pfeiffer, Henry Cavill's in it.
Is he really? Because I know like Charlie Cox is
Yeah,
obviously is Daredevil. Didn't know Superman was in there
yeah.
as well.
I think he plays like the hot guy from town that's like courting
Yep, yep.
Charlie Cox's like crushes. Yeah, he's like trying to
Yeah.
court her.
You got
And then he
Robert De
comes
Niro
back.
as the very flamboyant pirate.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, Ian McKellen is the narrator.
Oh my God. It's been a minute. The last time I watched Stardust was actually the night before I flew out to the UK, the last time I went to the UK, which was
Oh, okay.
2018.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting there, like we had to fly the next morning, like, what should we watch? And then like Stardust was on Netflix. I'm like, oh, we should definitely watch Stardust. Let's do that. Yes, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but I love Stardust. It's so good. Is it based on Neil Gaiman book? I feel like it is. I know Neil
Yeah,
Gaiman's
so
been in trouble lately, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, based on Neil Gaiman's novel of the same name.
mm,
But yeah, I thought like it's a nice movie. Like there's little bit of everything in it. So like, there's pirates in it, but there's also like a space aspect, and then there's the witches, and then there's like a love story, and it's all nice. And like I think it's good because you do see like a lot of character growth in there,
hmm
not just from the main character, but even from Elaine, who's the star. Like
that was
because
so
she
that's the thing.
starts off,
That's she's a fallen star, isn't she? She's a shooting
yeah.
star. Yeah.
And so she sort of, because like, yeah, the king throws the ruby and it hits her and she falls out of the sky.
Mm.
And so you sort of have that character development for both of them, because she starts off kind of like angry and like bitter that, you know, he's using her for such like a stupid reason. Like he's dragging her around for what she says is so dumb, because she's like, that's not like, okay, cool, like who cares about what you're trying to do? I need to get back home. And then, you know, they form a relationship where they like have to sort of lean on each other a little bit and get to know each other. And I really love Robert De Niro's character. He's so sweet.
It's again, it's been a minute. Is it a flying pirate ship? Because they're pirates, but they're like air pirates,
They
something.
collect
Yeah,
lightning.
that's
And
right. Oh, it's what a great like everything you said. Like a king through a ruby and knocked a star. Like it's like this is fantasy. Like this is everything you're saying. Is like this is fantasy, and like just the coolest kind of fantasy. Like yeah, they farm lightning and collect lightning and stuff like that.
And
Um,
even like the concepts like the Babylon candle, like
Mm.
that's really cool. To see Michelle Pfeiffer ugly was like, you know, because before I'd only seen her in, I think, I don't.
Batman
Was
Returns.
yeah, exactly, where she's obviously hot as, and
That was a big year for her because she did Stardust and Hairspray in the same year, and Hairspray
that's
she's
right. So I was gonna say, and
wonderful
she's
in.
also like hot in Hairspray. So like obviously she's a meanie in Hairspray, but she's still like gorgeous to look at. So you see her in this where she's like an old decrepit witch,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, she has range. But I mean, like,
It's
not that I
always
was ever,
like it's
not
always
that I was
witches wanting
debating
to
it,
be
but you know what I
beautiful,
mean?
isn't it? Like it's like
Yes.
in Hocus Pocus they want to be young and beautiful. In Cinderella they want to be young. Like in Sleeping Beauty, like all these movies it's about like just being young and beautiful. Um,
Well, I mean, without delving too far deep into it, where isn't that like a trope for women? Like women
but
characters, that's all they
yeah,
want.
I suppose you're right. And they're like, I know, we'll write an old ugly hag. Like, and she wants like, well
Obviously,
done.
she wants to be beautiful. She's not worth
That's
anything
gold,
else.
Hollywood. You've done it again.
They're just in a board meeting and they're like, okay, cool. So we have a fallen star, we have a flamboyant pirate, oh, hags. Let's put them in the movie.
Yeah, make them old and ugly, and they're jealous of the young, beautiful girl, and then one day she'll be a hag. No, she's an eternal star. Like eternal stars are always beautiful. Um, uh, it's yeah, it's such a great flick. It's so much fun, and like it really embraces what it is and leans into the genre so hard. Like it's a great flick, and it is yeah, as I said before, it is very Princess Bride. Like I would say they go kind of like actually that's a double feature I want to watch right now, but I can't.
I've not seen it, unfortunately.
Oh, we should watch it. It's really good.
Okay,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's yeah, like based on what you told me about like Never Ending Story, like if you like you'll like it. Like it's very like it's got all the tropes. Yeah, it's great. Um, I have nothing else to say about Stardust, but I love it, and I'm so glad it's on this list. I forgot about it. I'm so glad you mentioned it. Is there anything else you want to add about Stardust, Gabby?
No, I think that's it. Like the scene, I always like laugh about it because like the Robert De Niro's character, he's like meant to be this like really strong and like tough like captain of this
Mm.
pirate ship. And then like, but it's like kind of like an unspoken thing that his entire crew knows that he's cross-dressing.
Yeah.
Um, and then like they sort of walk in on him and he's like, okay, cool. And they just like act like everything's still fine. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Feels comfortable to be himself. So
Yeah.
I think that's so sweet.
Yeah, it's really yeah, it's because yeah, like when you first meet him, 'cause you're like it's De Niro, and like De Niro had done some comedy stuff, like he done Analyze This and he done Meet the Parents, but he's still playing like a gangster type character or like an aggressive type character. So I think like this in particular was one of the first roles where you're like, wow, like he can go soft. But like when you first see, and I don't mean soft like weak, I mean like gentle and like fun. And like because
Yeah.
when you first see him, like, oh my god, it's Robert De Niro, like they're in trouble now, and like he has does the De Niro face, and then like it's completely different, and it's such an understated
Yeah.
performance. Yeah, he's great in it. Um, nice one, Andre. That means your number one is here. What have you got for me? What are we wrapping up your list with?
So my number one is. Oops, sorry, the cats are getting into stuff. So my number one is the Dark Crystal.
which I have also never seen.
Ah,
I never watched like any of the Henson stuff, so I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen the other one they did. What's the one with Bowie?
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. I've never seen Labyrinth either, which we talked about when Gabby did her '80s episode. She's like, "What?" So I was like, "Yeah, I have not remedied that one either." But I know it's got cool character design. I've seen those weird birds and stuff like that, so I'm sure like it's going to be my jam. I just haven't got around to it. Clearly.
Yeah. It's it's a really really great film. So it came out in 1982, and directed by both Jim Henson and Frank Oz.
What a collaboration! Two wonderful filmmakers.
Exactly. So the story itself is set in a mythical world called Thra, where a powerful crystal has been cracked, creating a rift between two races, the cruel vulture-like Skeksis and the more gentle mythical mystics. So yeah, the Skeksis are those bird creatures, and that you've probably seen.
Yeah, I love that character design. It looks really cool. So like you would think after seeing it, I would have watched it, but no, I'm a jerk.
um, so our main character is a young gelfling named Jen. Who was sent on a quest by his dying mystic master and to find the missing shard of the dark crystal to restore it, which should bring balance back to the world and kind of bring peace between those two races. So along the way, Jen meets another gelfling named Kira. Again, they go on the typical hero adventure with many changes and wacky characters and again it's like I feel like this is my entire list, but it's just like the quintessential fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
So the film itself explores themes of good versus evil, and the hero's journey, and the importance of courage and unity. And all in all, it's known for its groundbreaking puppetry and intrinsic world building. That at least in my eyes makes it like a beloved classic for the fantasy genre. Even though it has a darker tone, originally it was supposed to have a much darker tone. But they wanted to make it a bit more kid friendly. And then out of nowhere they made a TV adaptation a couple of years ago.
I was going to ask you, like Netflix did do a sequel series. Have you checked that one out or?
Yeah. I loved it.
Nice, good. Because I know whenever you do that, when you say something like a beloved, film or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, it's been 30 years, let's do a sequel." It's like it can be received with mixed reception. So it's cool that like it lived up to your expectations. You enjoyed it. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely, and same with the Never-Ending Story. Like the puppetry is just fantastic. These ginormous puppets are just brought to life, and yeah, it's so fluid, it's so well done.
Nice.
It's just something that from an older audience, of course we know like, hey, that's a puppet, but for a kid myself, I was like, how did they do this? Like, are these like real but yeah, that's my quintessential fantasy movie. I can even
Nice.
even if it has like a darker tone, I guess also the format of how it's done. These and these different races and the good and evil and hero adventure, etc. Like that. Like that's what fantasy. It just the fantasy adventure for me, and as a kid when I was watching it, in kind of in the same vein as the Never-Ending Story, it just these amazing characters and the hero and overcoming evil, etc. As a child, it just absolutely put me in wonder. And especially with the more like scary aspect of the Skeksis race, it really brought it full circle for me.
Very cool. I got to check it out. Like it's been one of those ones been on my list for ages. I just never I guess like I just will, and again, like Gabby was the one who experienced it first, like because I think Gabby, you were the first person to do an '80s episode with me. Like the '80s, like even though I was born in it, like there's so much content from that decade that I haven't seen. And I think the kids' movies in particular were pretty like they would look. It's a different era. Like they had a lot of scary stuff in them. So I think my parents probably shielded me from them, and then I just never went back to them. But everything you're describing sounds awesome. So I've got to check out Dark Crystal. But I know it's beloved, and I'm sure everyone listening to this is like, "You idiot! Like, why haven't you seen it? It is great." And Andre is right, and you're wrong. And I'm saying, hey, I didn't disagree with Andre. I just said I haven't seen it. Like, it's good that this is number one. Leave me alone. I'm arguing with these phantom listeners. Did you have any fun facts about this one?
Yeah. So originally to enhance the realism, the filmmakers recorded some of the Skeksis like and Mythic's dialogue in an entirely invented language.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, but unfortunately, it was later dubbed over again in English after the test audiences found it too difficult to follow, which is really shit. Because I thought that would have been really cool. And Frank Oz, who does the voice acting for Chamberlain, which is one of the Skeksis, is the same voice actor for the original Yoda.
That's right. He's
Which I was
Yoda.
like,
I think he's Kermit as well, and Fozzie.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah, Frank
again,
Oz is a legend. Like he's done so much
legend.
cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't again I didn't realize that until I was searching up all these like fun facts for the movies and I was like, oh god, that was Yoda, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done heaps. He's like the voice of like the 70s and 80s, like puppets. Like that's him. He does all of them. Very cool. Nice one. That's a solid list. Like, yeah, I haven't quite seen everything, but everything you're talking about is making me excited to go get some fantasy. So, uh,
Yeah, great film.
yeah, very, very cool. Let's tie it up, Gabby. What's your number one pick for your fantasy list?
So, my top pick, I think it's a bit of a safe choice. It's a bit of an obvious choice.
Twilight.
No, although like it wouldn't be like it wouldn't not count because it like I guess vampires are part of fantasy, but my number one pick is the Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Now, this is the one that came out in the 2000s or the BBC one from the 80s, 90s?
The 2005 one.
Liam Neeson as Aslan. Very cool.
That's correct. Because I didn't know who Liam Neeson was at the time. And I don't know when Taken came out. Was that 2007?
Yeah, it was later. He'd done, he was probably like, people would have known him for Qui-Gon in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And he may have been like the cool stepdad in Love Actually. Like that might be what most people know.
Oh, right. Okay. Because, okay. If we think about like his voice, it's so wise sounding and not in like an old man way. Like, I guess, with Stardust, Ian McKellen, like he does sound really wise, but he does also sound like a bit of like an older man. Whereas Liam Neeson, he sounds like intelligent and wise, not being the same thing. I understand that a lot of people would be like, well, that's the same. But I mean like wise is in like worldly, like he knows things that aren't just specific to, his day to day. And it's not like, especially as Aslan, it's not like he's got a master's degree on his wall or something, but you can just tell that he's been around forever. Yeah. And I just thought that he was a perfect voice actor for that role because he just sounds so like authoritarian in that movie.
It's like the difference between Dumbledore is like the first Dumbledore like sounds old and knowledgeable, and then you get Gambon, you're like, oh, he sounds worldly. Like he sounds like he's seen some stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I liked his voice for that because especially when the kids are all in Narnia, and then they finally like meet Aslan, like he's this like guide for them that they so desperately need at the time. And you sort of remember that these kids don't have like that, they're not with their parents. Their dad was in the war they had to leave their house because of an air raid, so they're living in the British countryside, I think, or even not even in Britain. I think maybe they might have even been shipped to Scotland. Potentially, I could be wrong.
Can't relate. I said I can't relate.
Yeah.
So,
oh
okay.
yeah. But yeah, so they've been shipped off, and they're living with some like rich old guy, and so they haven't they don't have that sort of like fatherly influence in their life. And then along comes a talking lion who has like a really calming, wise voice to sort of guide them to what they need to do. And like, yes, there's a bit of betrayal from stupid Edmund, but
don't even get me started on Edmund and his Turkish delight.
He really pissed me off because I was like, they're not even good, to me at least. I know some people really get around it, but I just couldn't understand why you would trade your entire family for sugar-covered jelly. It's weird to me. But I thought that Tilda Swinton did a really, really good job as the White Witch, because she's so androgynous looking. She already looks kind of like a fantasy character anyway, because she can be so transformative in her appearance. Because like I've seen her in other movies where she's meant to be like really pretty, and then I've seen her in other movies where she's meant to be like Doctor Strange, where she's like, is she bald in Doctor Strange? Like,
has she ever played? Yeah, she is. I was gonna say, has she ever played David Bowie? And if not, why not? Like, because
why not? Exactly. Yeah.
She's also in. She is also in Suspiria. I don't know if you've seen Suspiria, like the 2018 remake, which was a very daring film to make because it's such this beloved like classic horror film, and like everyone's like, don't touch it. And I actually like it better than the original. Spoilers alert. She plays two characters in it. She plays like the lead witch of this coven, but then she also plays like this old man therapist, and you don't even know until, like, spoilers for a 6-year-old movie, you don't even actually end credits it's the same actor. Like, she's just so good.
Okay.
It doesn't ruin the film for you, so that's why I was like, I can tell you this is fine.
Yeah.
She's excellent. Yeah, and she's really good in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as well.
Yeah, I just think like, and because like, you know, the whole point is that she's meant to be scary, like, because she's this formidable, like, she's cast Narnia into everlasting winter without Christmas, which I guess if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that's the only good part about winter, is that there is Christmas at the end of it, or in the middle of it. I guess. So, and like, I guess if you like winter in like that part of the world, you might like snow, but other than that, like everyone's freezing, and you know, there's no food around, and then like all the animals are suffering because like they like winter animals like that do hibernation, they're kind of stuck in hibernation, and she turns everyone she doesn't like into stone. And she's just so jarring of a character, like, because you can understand, like, I guess, you know, someone being a bit power hungry and wanting to be like the boss, but she's so mean and scary. And then also as a young person watching that movie, because I think came out in 2005. Oh no, hang on.
I think it was 2007. I don't know. I took my sister to go see it, but I don't think I was driving yet, so I must have been 2005. I think it came out while I was working in the video store. Because they did a few sequels as well, but I never watched them.
Yeah, 2005. So I was really like sad that she had like real animals fighting on her side too, because like there was like there was like made up animals on like the good side, and then made up like fantasy animals on her side, but then there were real animals that existed on her side. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see them get hurt because they're real.
Well, the good guys had the beavers. You got the beavers.
Yeah, they did have the beavers, which Dawn French was one of the beavers.
Oh, really? I know James McAvoy is Mr. Tumnus.
Yes.
I am more familiar with the BBC version, so that one came out the late 80s, early 90s, and like I haven't watched it since, but I guarantee you the production value is terrible because it would have been on a BBC TV budget. And they would have been wearing animal costumes. There would have been no CGI. But but I love that story. I was just thinking Tilda Swinton would have been a great alternative to Kate Blanchett as Galadriel, and I wonder if this was like her way of getting a chance to do like kind of a terrifying queen, like because Galadriel is like beautiful and fair, but then she's also like quite menacing when she has that moment when she's talking about the ring to Frodo. I'm like, ooh, I would have liked to see Tilda do that actually.
Yeah, and also she does kind of look like she could definitely like with all the garb and stuff could definitely be painted as like ethereal like Kate Blanchett was. So yeah, I guess so.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
like Tilda Swinton a lot. I'm so glad you
yeah,
brought her
so
up.
I really enjoyed that movie when it came out. I'd read the books before. I think I read the books when I was like in grade 2 or grade 3, and then I reread them before seeing the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I was like almost devastated that there wasn't going to be another one out for a really long time, but like I guess being older and a bit more aware of things and how long things take to make something of that like how big it was. Yeah, and how much CGI they were using. Like, yeah, it's going to take a very long time to develop. So
They've never adapted them all, have they? Because I want to say there's 7 books. Is there?
no, I think they've only got 3 movies.
Because I know the BBC one I saw. I think they might have done a couple. Like, is it the Silver Chair or the Silver something? There's the Silver something.
They have, yeah, so they've got
They did Prince Caspian. They did Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I'm pretty sure.
that's right.
I think
Yeah,
that's where
and
they
then
stopped.
that's it. Yeah.
It seems like this is ripe for like HBO or Netflix or someone to take and do a streaming version, like do a series.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I know that like the way that Netflix and like streaming services are going, and now like because books have gotten very like not that they ever went out of style, but like have garnered quite a massive audience online. Especially like the spicy kind of books. They like big readerships are petitioning for a TV series based on the books, which like some are, it depends like I guess what the genre is, but like a lot of them do have like fantasy storylines. So HBO would probably be a big one because like they've had so much success with the House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff. And that is like a fantasy too. They've got knights and princesses, and then they also have dragons, and then like there is a bit of like witchcraft in it as well. Like so yeah, there's a lot going on there that they could definitely work with since they've done it already.
I just looked it up. Netflix has the rights. Netflix are doing it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Greta Gerwig apparently is doing it. So she did Barbie.
Well, that's interesting.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, because I can see like that the sequels weren't planned, but it looks like the Silver Chair and the Magician's Nephew have been in development hell for a while now. So I don't think it looks like they've given up on the movies. But yeah, apparently, according to IMDb, which take with a grain of salt, there's a Netflix adaptation that's in production. And yeah, Greta Gerwig, I think is a great choice. Like I think she'll do well with it. Which is good. Yeah, I haven't seen that one since it came out. And again, look, I'll show you like here's the production value of the one that I saw when I was a child. So as you can see, that's 88. That's a puppet lion.
What?
Like but the woman who played the actress who played the queen was terrifying. And the Turkish delight looks so delicious. But yeah, I'll see if I can find because there's obviously there's a scene where Peter fights the wolf. And yeah, here we go. As you can see, he's in wolf makeup. He's not like that's my version of Chronicles of Narnia. That's the one that I saw.
That's so funny.
They don't have an image of the beavers. And like here's like Aslan's castle. And as you'll see, like it's nice, but it's not all that like they're just like, hey, where's the ruins of a castle? Let's just use that. Those are some solid lists, man. You guys have done very well, and you've made me want to watch a whole ton of fantasy, which I'm definitely going to do. Did you have any honorable mentions? Was there anything on your list that didn't quite make it that you wanted to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, like aside from Harry Potter, like Lord of the Rings, all like all the big ones. I mean, like, could you count The Mummy as fantasy?
It's definitely adventure. Like, I guess it does fall into that. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think we always kind of like pigeonhole fantasy as being kind of X, Y, or Z. But you've listed stuff here that I wouldn't have thought of, but definitely falls. So I guess the Mummy counts.
I think we like I would place, and I guess this is maybe why I didn't pick some of the movies that that are quite obvious, is because I feel like they bought it on like a monster movie because of like the mummies. I guess like mummies aren't really monstery, but they kind of are
Yeah.
because they have that like spookiness about them.
Mm.
But yeah, obviously I love the mummy. I can't get enough of that. I think like I'm pretty happy with my choices. I like Hellboy as well. Um, anything with a little bit of made upness about it, I really enjoy. I do enjoy like thrillers and stuff that like it's a true story or like something that you have to work out, and romances and dramas and all that sort of stuff. But I really love going back to these like movies I enjoyed as a kid and seeing them with adult eyes, because you pick up stuff that you weren't really picking up at that time. Like as a kid, you're focused on like beginning, middle, end, whereas as an adult, you view like the whole story and you pick up
Yeah.
like subtle details that weren't really obvious to you before, and you're like, oh, so this is why they're like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. Whereas like, yeah, I guess like even as a kid, like Bridge to Terabithia, there's like an element of like a weird relationship between Josh Hutcherson's character and his dad. And you sort of pick up that it's a bit negative, but you don't like as a kid, but as an adult, you're like, oh, okay, like he actively is nasty. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool,
Um,
cool, cool.
well, I think it's done really well. I think there's some really great flicks there for people to pick from. Oh, are you going somewhere? I'm gonna be turning this off in 2 seconds. Just say hello to Gabby and Andre before we wrap up the episode. Ready? There we go. They can see you.
Hi, Zoe. Hi, darling.
Where are they
Nope.
sitting, Zoe? Where are they? Is that on our couch? That's right. I'm going to wrap up the episode and then I can join you guys, unless you want. Just give me 2 seconds. I think there's a great list. I think there's a lot of variety there for people to pick from, and some really great stuff in there. So thank you, Gabby and Andre, for coming back, being my first international guest, technically, because I'm overseas. So it's weird having some Australians on that aren't me. Um, that's going to do it for this week's episode. If you want to support the show, jump on to Instagram, follow I Was a Teenage Film Snob _ between every single word. I'm doing reviews on there now, so got some new video content. I'm trying something a little bit different, so you can check those out. We're going to have some really cool guests coming up. I'm interviewing an author tonight. I'm interviewing another podcaster in the coming weeks. I believe there's a crossover with another show coming up, and I might have my first ever UK guest. I'm still nutting out the details with her, but she's got a huge TikTok and Instagram following. She's very cool, so hopefully we'll get her on soon. Watch this space. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. So keep an eye for everything coming up soon. Thank you all for listening. And as I say every single week on this show, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.
Bye.